On October 15, 2023, a tense incident occurred at Dolce Lounge, a popular bar in Elizabeth, New Jersey. The situation began when Clementina UD Galana, a customer who had come to relax, found herself in a dispute with the bar staff over the entrance fee. Although the matter seemed like a minor argument at first, it quickly escalated into a confrontation when Clementina requested to speak with a manager to clarify the situation and resolve the issue. During this interaction, she felt disrespected and claimed she was harassed, prompting her to react strongly and demand assistance from management. At the same time, the bar staff's impatient and uncooperative attitude exacerbated the situation, making it more tense and difficult to control. Instead of addressing the problem calmly and reasonably, the staff appeared to provoke Clementina's anger, creating a charged atmosphere in the bar and intensifying the conflict. The disagreement over the entrance fee soon turned into harsh words and somewhat aggressive actions from both sides, complicating the situation further and requiring police intervention. When law enforcement arrived, they found there was insufficient evidence of criminal behavior, so they could not make an arrest immediately. However, Clementina, still furious and unwilling to back down, insisted on filing an official report and asserted that she had been the victim of harassment and assault by the bar staff. She continuously demanded clarification and emphasized that she had not only been disrespected but also physically attacked during the interaction. As tensions escalated between her, the bar staff, and the police, Clementina refused to leave the establishment when asked. She stubbornly refused to cooperate, and with the situation becoming more complicated, the police were forced to arrest her. What began as a dispute over an entrance fee quickly turned into a series of negative actions and reactions, leading to Clementina facing charges for harassment and obstruction of justice. In the end, Clementina UD Galana was charged with 2 serious offenses: trespassing and assault. Although she adamantly denied any wrongdoing, the incident attracted significant attention, not only from the public but also from law enforcement agencies. This event was not just a typical bar dispute. It highlighted deeper and more complex issues related to conflict resolution in public spaces, where confrontations can quickly escalate into tense situations. Additionally, the involvement of law enforcement in such social conflicts raised questions about the effectiveness of security management measures, as well as the authority of the police in handling situations that go beyond criminal behavior to include protecting the rights and safety of all individuals. This case is not merely an isolated personal incident, but a catalyst for a larger dialogue on how authorities and the community should collaborate to resolve societal disputes fairly and reasonably. Clementina UD Galana found herself immediately caught in an uncomfortable situation related to the entrance fee, a seemingly common issue at entertainment venues, but one that sparked a tense conflict between her and the bar staff. While entrance fees are a standard feature at many entertainment establishments, the way the issue was handled and the attitude of the staff created unnecessary complexity. Instead of receiving the warm and professional reception she expected at a high-end entertainment venue, Clementina felt disrespected from the moment she arrived. The staff's attitude not only lacked courtesy but also conveyed a clear sense of disregard for the customer, which intensified her dissatisfaction. Clementina had expected that, given the entrance fee she was paying, the service at Dolce Lounge would meet the comfort and quality she felt was deserved. However, when faced with a fee she considered disproportionate to the service provided, her frustration grew. The relationship between the customer and the staff, which should be based on respect, polite communication, and professional service, was severely broken. The staff's lack of proper attitude not only made the situation uncomfortable but also left Clementina feeling mentally disrespected, as she had expected to feel relaxed and happy in the entertainment space, but was instead pushed into a tense and unpleasant situation. Although it all started with a minor issue about the entrance fee, the staff's handling of the situation made it much more complicated than it needed to be. Rather than receiving sympathy and a reasonable resolution, Clementina felt disregarded, leading her to feel that she was being insulted not just by the attitude but by her own worth. This lack of respect not only caused disappointment but also harmed her experience at Dolce Lounge, making her feel she was not treated as she deserved given the amount of money she had spent, something any customer would expect when choosing a high-end entertainment venue. Frustrated by the unprofessional and unfair handling by the staff, Clementina immediately demanded to speak with a manager to clarify the issue and find a resolution. She sought a reasonable explanation for the entrance fee she deemed unreasonable. However, instead of receiving a welcoming and supportive response from the manager, she again felt mistreated and disrespected. This feeling only intensified as the staff remained uncooperative and indifferent to her legitimate requests. Her growing disappointment and frustration reached a peak when not only was she not given a reasonable explanation for the entrance fee, but she was also insulted by the cold, unsympathetic attitude of those she had hoped would assist her. This indifferent attitude seemed to deny her rights and requests, causing her to feel dismissed and ignored. These negative emotions surged, making it impossible for her to remain calm, and she began to openly express her dissatisfaction. The lack of respect, coupled with the refusal to listen and address her legitimate concerns, turned a small dispute over the entrance fee into a tense confrontation, which could result in both emotional and physical harm. The tension between Clementina and the staff not only deepened the conflict, but also created a series of complicated events. When the issue was not resolved peacefully, the security staff and others involved began to take forceful actions that lacked restraint, making the situation even more difficult to manage. The unstable situations and disputes arising during the handling of the incident created a charged atmosphere, making everything more complicated and harder to resolve, leading to unforeseen consequences. The police received a call requesting intervention and resolution of a tense situation at Dolce Lounge, a popular entertainment venue located in Elizabeth, New Jersey. A serious dispute had arisen between Clementina UD Galana and the bar staff, stemming from her dissatisfaction with the way the staff handled the entrance fee. Feeling unfairly treated, Clementina requested to speak with a manager to clarify the issue, but this quickly escalated into a confrontational situation when the staff responded unfavorably. Upon the arrival of the police, they interviewed all parties involved to gather information and attempt to clarify the situation and pinpoint the origin of the conflict. However, after reviewing the situation and lacking specific evidence of criminal behavior, as well as determining that the case was not serious enough to warrant immediate legal action, the police could not make an arrest. Nevertheless, they recorded the information and advised the parties to continue resolving the matter through appropriate legal procedures. Although the situation had become tense and some aspects of the dispute had been resolved, Clementina refused to accept a compromise and insisted on having a detailed report made about the incident. She not only sought an official record from the authorities, but also demanded that the identities of the staff members she accused of harassment and assault be clarified. This move not only demonstrated Clementina's strong determination to protect her personal rights, but also reflected a steadfast attitude in her pursuit of justice, even in the face of considerable opposition and difficulty from those around her. She refused to let the matter pass without legal intervention, particularly as she felt insulted and harmed by the unfair treatment she received from the bar staff. Requesting an official report was not only an act of self-protection, but also a declaration of her right to be defended and to seek justice in modern society. In this context, Clementina embodies a core human value in today's society: the refusal to allow any injustice to persist without a fight to rectify it. Her actions sent a powerful message about citizens' rights and the necessity of legal intervention to protect individuals who have been wronged. Clementina showed strong resolve and resilience in pursuing legal actions to seek justice and defend her dignity. This act not only reflected her determination to demand transparency and justice, but also sent a clear message that she would not allow any violations, whether physical or psychological, to continue without being addressed. Her actions demonstrated respect for her personal rights and were a strong statement aimed at those who might have the tendency to disrespect others, particularly in a workplace or business environment. Despite the unresolved outcome of the case, Clementina's actions clearly demonstrated an uncompromising stance against injustice and unfairness. She sought not only to protect her own honor, but also to stand up for the rights of those who might face similar situations. Her demand for fair and transparent treatment showed that she was prepared to face difficulties, whether through legal procedures or challenges from more powerful individuals. Clementina viewed restoring her dignity and protecting her rights as a top priority, willing to engage in any struggle to ensure that she was not treated unfairly. Her actions were not only of a legal nature but also a strong affirmation of individual freedom and citizenship rights in modern society. In a world where everyone has the right to be treated with respect and fairness, Clementina demonstrated that no one could disregard or abuse power without facing consequences. Her determination, even in difficult circumstances, proved the strength of protecting personal dignity and rights in today's society, where justice and fairness must always be upheld and respected. Clementina's response to the situation at Dolce Lounge on October 15, 2023, is a clear example of her tough and resolute attitude, which contributed to escalating the situation from the beginning. When asked to leave due to a dispute over the entrance fee, instead of staying calm and cooperating with the staff and police, Clementina reacted aggressively. Her response was not just a refusal to leave, but also manifested in challenging words and actions that reflected her anger and dissatisfaction with how she perceived the treatment. She not only complained about the entrance fee but also made accusations of unfair treatment, even alleging racial discrimination as the root cause of the incident. While the police asked her to leave, instead of listening and attempting to resolve the matter peacefully, Clementina continued to resist, refusing to comply with the authorities' advice and explanations. Her refusal to leave and her continued resistance heightened the tension, complicating the resolution process. This not only made her the central figure of the incident, but also led to serious legal consequences, as she eventually faced charges of harassment and assault. Clementina's resistance was not only shown through her adamant refusal to leave Dolce Lounge, but also through her impatient attitude and lack of cooperation throughout the resolution process. She showed no interest in finding a reasonable solution to the issue, but instead focused on expressing her dissatisfaction. This attitude made all efforts at reconciliation futile, as she refused to listen or cooperate with those trying to resolve the issue comprehensively. In fact, her continued refusal to cooperate not only intensified the conflict but also created a tense atmosphere, making the situation more difficult to control. With increasing misunderstandings and miscommunication, the tension between her and the staff, as well as between her and the police, escalated uncontrollably. Clementina's impatience and non-cooperation pushed the situation from a minor dispute into a complex issue, making any possibility of resolving the matter peacefully and reasonably seem distant and unlikely to achieve. Her resistance, marked by her determined refusal to leave, also revealed her impatience and lack of cooperation throughout the entire process. Rather than seeking a reasonable resolution, she solely focused on expressing her dissatisfaction. This approach made all reconciliation attempts pointless because she was unwilling to listen or collaborate with those trying to address the issue thoroughly. Her continuous refusal to cooperate not only deepened the conflict but also fostered an atmosphere of tension, making the situation even more difficult to control. Misunderstandings and faulty communication grew, making the tension between her, the staff, and the police escalate uncontrollably. Clementina's lack of patience and cooperation turned what could have been a minor dispute into a complex case, reducing the chances of resolving the situation peacefully and rationally. Clementina not only expressed her anger through words but also through every gesture and action, with each movement serving as a powerful protest against what she perceived as wrong and unjust. Her anger was not a fleeting emotion, but a deep-seated outrage, a strong reaction to what she felt insulted her dignity and personal rights. She could not accept the disrespect from the staff, and it seemed that every attempt at persuasion or intervention only fueled her resolve, making her more firm and determined. Each of her words became a declaration affirming her right to autonomy and the respect she felt she deserved. Her actions were not just reactions but a relentless struggle, an assertion of her personal rights in the context of what she perceived as oppression. Clementina's powerful resistance only escalated the tension, as the efforts by the staff and police to calm the situation seemed to intensify the conflict. Although the staff tried to maintain order and ensure safety, Clementina's persistent reactions made the atmosphere more charged, turning it into a confrontation without signs of de-escalation, increasing unease and tension in the surroundings. Clementina's dissatisfaction with the way the staff and police handled the situation created an uncontrollable wave of tension, rendering all efforts at reconciliation and resolving the issue futile. Initially, it seemed that all parties shared a common goal of maintaining order and addressing the problem reasonably. However, with Clementina's fierce resistance and unwillingness to compromise, all attempts to stay calm and find a solution failed. She not only felt insulted by the staff's attitude, but also sensed that respect was entirely absent in the way they treated her. This lack of respect triggered her loss of composure, making her more agitated and emotionally out of control, and thus her reactions became even harsher and stronger. In her view, the situation was no longer just a dispute over a fee, but a profound struggle related to personal rights and self-respect. Every action, every word from the staff and police was perceived by her as an invasion of her dignity, and she decided not to yield. This made the situation even more complex, transforming a minor dispute into a fierce confrontation, where ignorance and a sense of being threatened only pushed things further, amplifying the tension exponentially. Ultimately, after numerous unsuccessful attempts to get Clementina to leave Dolce Lounge, the police had to intervene to resolve the situation. However, the presence of the authorities not only failed to ease the situation but made everything even more tense. Clementina's non-cooperation and fierce resistance made the situation even more complicated, beyond the control of both the staff and security team. She displayed a steadfast and uncompromising attitude, continuously opposing every request from the authorities, not only refusing to leave but also engaging in acts of defiance. Her determination not to cooperate throughout the process of being asked to leave the establishment escalated the situation, creating a prolonged tense atmosphere. Clementina's strong and uncontrolled reactions made the conflict between her and the security staff more serious, pushing the situation to a heightened level of tension and making the police intervention both necessary and difficult to resolve. At first, the incident was merely a small dispute between a customer, Clementina UD Galana, and the staff of Dolce Lounge over what seemed like a simple issue, the cover charge. However, when the police intervened, the situation quickly escalated into a more intense and serious confrontation. From a simple request to leave the establishment, the situation evolved into the arrest of Clementina after her strong resistance. The confrontation not only caused both sides to fall into a heated conflict, but also highlighted the challenges businesses face when dealing with legal issues in conflict situations. This situation underscores an important reality. Maintaining public order and resolving conflicts in business environments is not simple, especially when law enforcement is involved. The decisions and actions of the police in handling the situation not only influenced the outcome of the dispute, but also reflected the complex relationship between personal rights and the power of law enforcement agencies. This story raises questions about the ability to mediate social conflicts when the involved parties are not easily able to find common ground. In reality, the interaction between customers, staff, and the police is not merely about resolving a dispute. It is often a struggle between power and personal rights, sometimes impossible to bring to a peaceful conclusion. Throughout her arrest, Clementina UD Galana demonstrated an extremely rigid and uncooperative attitude, making the situation more tense and difficult for the authorities. When the police officers performed the task of escorting her to the patrol car, instead of complying with their requests and instructions, Clementina strongly and fiercely resisted. She not only refused to cooperate during the arrest procedures but also showed clear acts of defiance, such as shouting, struggling, and refusing to follow the officers' directions. These actions not only indicated a lack of respect for the police's authority but also reflected an attitude of defiance against the law itself, which escalated the tension in the situation. Her refusal to cooperate and her acts of defiance created significant difficulties for the officers in performing their duties. This not only prolonged the arrest process but also increased the risk to her safety and that of those around her. These actions also disrupted the surrounding environment, creating a tense atmosphere and potentially disturbing public order. Clementina's strong reactions not only made the situation more severe, but also highlighted the lack of restraint and disagreement in adhering to the law. As a result, her actions posed a significant challenge to law enforcement agencies, as they had to deal with a complex and dangerous situation while carrying out their duties. Her defiance was not only a lack of respect for the authorities but also an outright rejection of the power of the law, creating a concerning precedent in maintaining public order and security. Clementina's refusal to accept medical care, despite the officer's suggestions and requests for assistance, was not only a negative response to the intervention of law enforcement, but also reflected a hard-line and determined attitude. This act not only showed her strong resistance to the arrest decision, but also her refusal to accept help in a tense situation, which could reflect distrust or a lack of confidence in the law enforcement officers. In fact, rejecting medical care in such a tense situation could have serious consequences for Clementina's health. Injuries or symptoms could worsen if not treated in time, and the mental stress could lead to unwanted reactions, further complicating her existing health issues. Moreover, this attitude further heightened the tension between Clementina and the police, as it made them feel that not only was she uncooperative, but also doubting their ability to handle the situation. This created an invisible but dangerous clash, making communication between the parties more complicated. The refusal of medical intervention could lead to misunderstandings and exacerbate the relationship between the individual and law enforcement, making the situation harder to resolve. This vicious cycle not only diminished the effectiveness of law enforcement, but also increased the risk of unnecessary conflict, weakening the individual's trust in the legal system. Clementina's actions of non-cooperation during the incident at Dolce Lounge may become a decisive factor in escalating the severity of the charges against her. Specifically, her refusal to cooperate with the police officers and her obstruction of the arrest process made the situation more tense, leading to the possibility that the charges against her would become more serious. Her acts of defiance and non-compliance with police orders not only created difficulties for law enforcement, but could also lead to new charges, such as obstruction of justice or assault on the police while performing their duties. Furthermore, Clementina's non-cooperation could further aggravate the previous charges related to her behavior at Dolce Lounge. Her continuous resistance throughout her interactions with the police indicated a lack of respect for the authorities, making the case more legally complicated. This not only increased the seriousness of the case, but could also lead the court to take the defendant's attitude into serious consideration when deciding the level of punishment. Clementina's non-cooperation may result in more severe penalties and raise legal issues that are difficult to resolve, creating additional obstacles in handling the case fairly and accurately. In conclusion, Clementina UD Galana's non-cooperation not only complicated the arrest process but also had far-reaching effects on the entire case, potentially making the charges against her more severe and creating difficult-to-predict legal consequences. After the tense incident at Dolce Lounge on October 15, 2023, Clementina UD Galana faced a series of serious legal consequences, which not only significantly impacted her personal life but could also extend and affect her long-term future. Although the incident initially stemmed from a minor dispute over a cover charge between her and the bar staff, tensions quickly escalated into a heated confrontation when Clementina demanded to speak with the manager to resolve the issue. What seemed like a simple situation evolved into a much more complex one when Clementina's attitude and reactions clearly indicated her non-cooperation with both the bar staff and the police, making the problem more serious. Although she expressed a desire to resolve the issue, Clementina's actions exacerbated the situation, leading to direct confrontations with security and law enforcement. Her refusal to cooperate and her aggressive attitude escalated the conflict, transforming what could have been a minor disagreement into a serious incident. Not only did she demand to speak with the manager, but she also insisted on filing charges against an employee she accused of harassment. This further complicated the police's and bar management's efforts to resolve the issue. As the situation spiraled out of control, Clementina's firm refusal to leave the premises led to her arrest. What initially seemed like a small conflict quickly turned into a legal ordeal. In addition to being arrested for resisting, Clementina now faced charges of assaulting staff and infringing on others' rights, consequences that could have a significant impact on her future. These repercussions not only affected her personally but also had the potential to harm her social relationships, career, and reputation within the community. When bar staff asked Clementina to leave to maintain security and order, instead of cooperating, she reacted violently and out of control. This marked a clear act of defiance, demonstrating not only a lack of cooperation but also an aggressive and challenging attitude. In a situation that required calm and rational action, Clementina chose to confront the issue head-on, intensifying the tension. Her actions not only disrupted the peace in the bar, but also created a risk of escalation, especially as staff and law enforcement became involved. Had she left peacefully, the matter could have been resolved quickly without negative consequences. However, her stubbornness and resistance made the situation difficult to control, raising the stakes for all parties involved. When police arrived, rather than comply and cooperate to resolve the issue, Clementina continued to resist, leading to her eventual arrest. Her actions reflected a lack of self-control and caused further disruption, exacerbating the situation and increasing the risk of similar incidents occurring in the future. The charges Clementina faced went beyond simply causing a disturbance at Dolce Lounge. They included serious accusations such as property damage and aggravated assault against one of the bar's staff members. These charges not only had significant legal implications but would also tarnish her personal reputation and standing within the community. Property damage and assault are serious offenses, which could result in severe legal consequences such as imprisonment, fines, or other legal measures. This could affect her freedom and financial stability and severely damage her image in the eyes of friends, colleagues, and the broader public. Moreover, these accusations could have a profound impact on her personal life, particularly her social and family relationships. Being involved in a serious legal matter could cause her to lose the trust of those around her, create tension in her personal and family life, and lead to criticism or doubts about her morals and behavior. Additionally, she may face long-term negative effects on her career, as these charges could hinder her career advancement or even result in job loss in the future. This incident serves not only as a lesson in emotional control and behavior in tense situations, but also as a strong warning about the legal consequences that can arise from impulsive, rash, and uncooperative reactions in conflict situations. It reminds everyone that in modern society, decisions and actions made without careful consideration can harm not only oneself but also those around us, leading to unforeseeable consequences. The situation at Dolce Lounge was more than just a disagreement between a customer and staff. It was a series of overreactions and lack of control on Clementina's part throughout the conflict resolution process. What began as a minor issue, a simple complaint about the cover charge, quickly escalated into a confrontation when Clementina demanded to speak with the manager to resolve the issue. This was a situation that could have been addressed through negotiation and listening, but instead of choosing the path of reconciliation, she let her emotions take control, making everything much more complicated. Clementina did not merely express frustration verbally. Her actions were extreme and unrestrained. She repeatedly accused the bar staff of harassment and even claimed they had attacked her without justification. These accusations not only heightened the tension between the two sides, but also made the situation more complex and difficult to resolve. Rather than trying to handle the situation calmly and rationally, Clementina acted impulsively and aggressively, causing the situation to spiral out of control. Clementina's lack of self-control turned a small issue into a major conflict, leading to serious legal and social consequences. Her excessive reactions not only strained the relationship between the customer and staff, but also drew the intervention of law enforcement. Instead of seeking a peaceful and reasonable resolution, her impulsive and unrestrained actions escalated the situation, resulting in lasting consequences for both her and the community. This episode is not only a clear example of Clementina's lack of self-restraint, but also a lesson about the mismanagement of the situation by all parties involved. Clementina, in her state of frustration and feeling insulted, allowed her emotions to entirely control her actions, leading to impulsive and excessive reactions. Her sense of being challenged prevented her from staying calm, creating an unnecessary tense situation. However, the bar staff's reaction was also important in making the situation worse. Instead of remaining calm and trying to solve the issue diplomatically, they responded in a way that was somewhat harsh, further escalating the conflict. Their attitude not only fueled the tension but also complicated the situation further. At the same time, law enforcement's intervention, though carried out in an appropriate context, was not quick or decisive enough to de-escalate the situation. Police arrived late, and instead of immediately finding a solution, they were unable to control the unfolding events. This reflects a shortcoming in handling emergency situations, where timely and strategic intervention is crucial. The police failed to provide a clear and effective solution, instead adding to the confusion and making the situation more complex. This situation not only highlights a lack of experience in handling conflicts, but also emphasizes the importance of maintaining composure in all situations. Conflict resolution should be approached systematically and carefully, with specific measures in place to avoid excessive reactions. Had all parties been better prepared and handled the situation more skillfully, the outcome could have been very different. Ultimately, Clementina's arrest was an unfortunate conclusion, which could have been avoided had the situation been handled more appropriately and quickly from the start. Clementina's arrest and the subsequent legal charges can be seen as the result of a series of avoidable events that could have been easily prevented had all parties involved taken a more cooperative attitude and calmly addressed the issue from the beginning. Due to the poor decisions made by both the Dolce Lounge staff and Clementina's impulsive, uncontrolled behavior, everything quickly escalated into an uncontrollable situation. When no one was willing to listen and find common ground, all efforts to reconcile only complicated the situation further. This highlights a failure in communication and serves as a reminder of the importance of emotional control and patience in tense situations. When there is a lack of empathy and understanding, even a small conflict can become a serious issue, leading to legal consequences and causing harm to the reputation and lives of those involved. This event underscores an important lesson. Lack of cooperation, listening, and empathy can turn a manageable situation into a tense and uncontrollable confrontation, leaving behind long-term consequences that could have been avoided. The incident at Dolce Lounge is not just a personal issue, but also a profound lesson on the importance of maintaining composure and responding appropriately in conflict situations. In life, we cannot avoid tense situations, especially when faced with unexpected incidents. However, how we react in these moments greatly influences the outcome of the situation. When law enforcement is involved, staying calm is crucial. It not only helps reduce tension, but also creates a favorable environment for the parties involved to discuss and resolve the issue more effectively. In the presence of law enforcement, every action, word, and reaction needs to be carefully considered. A thoughtless or impulsive remark or action can easily escalate the situation. Losing emotional control can lead to wrong decisions, even escalating into uncontrollable conflicts, causing both mental and material damage. In reality, tense situations can easily be provoked and prolonged if we do not control our emotions, and this not only affects ourselves but also those around us. Therefore, the lesson about maintaining composure in all conflict situations is essential, and we should all pay attention to it, especially when law enforcement is involved. Especially when a conflict occurs not only between individuals but also involves the intervention of relevant authorities, every decision and action must strictly adhere to clear and accurate legal procedures. When faced with such high-pressure situations, individuals must be extremely cautious, ensuring their actions reflect not only their personal rights but also align with the law. Acting impulsively or without careful thought, especially in tense circumstances, can complicate the matter and lead to severe legal consequences, damaging one's reputation and the interests of others involved. In these situations, self-restraint and the ability to think carefully before acting play a crucial role, not just for the person directly involved, but for everyone participating in the conflict resolution process. A hasty and thoughtless decision can lead to unforeseen repercussions, while maintaining calmness, resolving disputes rationally, and respecting the law can ensure an effective solution and protect the rights of all parties. Therefore, cultivating self-control and a solid understanding of legal processes enables individuals to handle stressful situations with wisdom and clarity, thus avoiding unnecessary consequences. The case of Clementina UD Galana is not merely a personal incident, but also reflects a significant issue regarding the resolution of allegations through official legal procedures. It exemplifies the importance of handling disputes correctly, fairly, and transparently. When accusations are made, a thorough review and adherence to legal processes ensure that the rights of all parties involved are protected and contribute to the preservation of fairness in society. Every case needs to be evaluated objectively, free from external influences like emotions or biases, in order to determine the extent of any wrongdoing and to make reasonable decisions. This not only helps create a stable legal environment, but also strengthens public trust in the justice system. Any shortcomings in this process can lead to incorrect conclusions, causing dissatisfaction and a sense of injustice for both the accuser and the accused. Furthermore, if legal procedures are not carried out fairly and transparently, it can increase dissatisfaction in the community and negatively impact respect for the legal system. Therefore, to achieve a fair and just outcome, all allegations must be handled with care and in accordance with established legal steps. In such complex and sensitive situations, applying the law is not just the duty of the authorities, but also a significant responsibility to protect the rights of all parties involved. The law is an essential tool to maintain social order, protect justice, and ensure that all citizens are treated equally before the law. Especially in cases involving conflict, disputes, or allegations, accurate and impartial application of the law can help resolve the issue reasonably while preventing wrongful or unfair actions. When the legal system is functioning correctly, it provides a strong framework that allows everyone to present their views and protect their interests. This not only safeguards individual rights, but also maintains fairness and equality in society. Furthermore, a robust, transparent, and fair legal system strengthens public confidence in law enforcement and creates reassurance and trust in the authorities. As a result, society faces fewer instances of legal violations and encourages everyone to follow the established rules, fostering a healthy and just living and working environment for all. In this case, authorities must proceed with caution, thoroughness, and responsibility to ensure fairness and accuracy in every decision. Each action, from gathering information to making the final judgment, should be carried out precisely and transparently, avoiding any distortion or bias. What is crucial is that these authorities maintain absolute impartiality, ensuring that no external factors, such as societal pressure or subjective judgments, influence the handling of the case. Failure to do so would not only harm the individuals involved, but also seriously damage the credibility of the authorities and the legal system. Moreover, handling the case fairly and appropriately not only protects the individual rights of the involved parties, but also plays a key role in maintaining public trust in the legal system. When society witnesses authorities performing their duties seriously and without bias, it strengthens belief in justice and fosters respect for the law. On the contrary, if the case is mishandled or lacks transparency and fairness, it not only affects those directly involved, but can also lead to widespread skepticism in the community about the protection of citizens' rights, ultimately weakening confidence in the legal system. From this incident, we can derive valuable lessons about the importance of maintaining fairness, transparency, and responsibility in addressing legal issues. Every decision made, whether by authorities or involved individuals, must be based on principles that respect rights and fairness, avoiding any factors that could cause distortion. Furthermore, acting correctly not only protects individual rights, but also contributes to building a fair society where the law truly serves as a tool to protect rights and fairness for all citizens. Therefore, the crucial lesson we must remember is that we must always respect and correctly implement legal provisions, as only by doing so will public trust in the legal system be reinforced and sustainably developed.